Oprah show audience. Whitney did, I think it was her last show with us, with her when we'd gone behind stage, and I asked her about her intention. She was clean. But the day she came to my show then to perform in front of the audience, she was not. And she fell off of the stage.
So Oprah turned up at the Cannes Lions Festival, strolled onto the stage, and almost 15 years after the iconic Whitney Houston passed away, uncovered an unexpected story regarding Whitney's 2009 appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Oprah claimed Whitney had relapsed, showed up at the event appearing intoxicated, and actually slipped off the stage prior to her performance. Then Oprah painted herself as the individual who jumped in to assist. She mentioned she pleaded with the studio crowd not to leak any pictures or videos because she wished to safeguard Whitney and prevent the scenario from turning even more destructive.
And I knew that if that story got out that she'd fallen off of the stage, that she would be destroyed by that. And so even though the audience was there and the audience had cameras, I begged them not to put those pictures out because it would ruin her life, and they did not.
But hold on a second. If the objective was truly to defend Whitney back then, why drag this narrative up today when she is no longer around to answer or give her perspective on what occurred? People have been wondering, what was the motive, Oprah? A few also noted that these remarks arrived shortly after Davis passed on, which fueled even more curiosity. Simultaneously, individuals who claimed they were present that day have maintained Whitney did not seem to be under the influence.
Oprah had suggested that she had relapsed and the fall was due to her being high. Do you think that was the case?
No, I think the case was she didn't really know that stage. And when she walked out there, she stepped off of it, stepped off the end onto the next level.
So why drop a claim like that today? People were fast to ask, Oprah, what is happening? Others wondered why Whitney's heritage was being pulled back into the public eye in this manner after such a long time. Certain fans even joked that Oprah's trip on stage was Whitney having the final word. That was purely their view, naturally, and many insisted no one could alter their views. One detail is certain, Whitney's name still has people chatting. Some accounts celebrate her incredible gifts, while others highlight drama. Whether it stems from sincere tribute, or because her identity still pulls focus, there have already been multiple books and movies focused on her journey. To begin with, Whitney's mother, gospel icon Cissy Houston, published a memoir in 2013 titled Remembering Whitney, My Story of Love, Loss, and the Night the Music Stopped. Then in 2020, Whitney's long-standing buddy and creative director, Robin Crawford, dropped her own autobiography, A Song for You, My Life with Whitney Houston, offering readers a profoundly intimate look at their time together. B.B. Winans also published a book about their bond named The Whitney I Knew. During a chat with Essence, he detailed why he chose to air those reflections, stating, "It was a method of accepting the hurt, knowing Whitney the way I knew her, dedicating the time that I spent with her. It was simply a unique bond. In any connection, if you put in the effort, you'll grow very tight, and you understand each other's strong points and flaws. You grow so tight that you can begin a phrase, and the other individual will complete it. That was the sort of bond we shared. I will long for her just like I long for my sibling, Ronald. I remember her daily, but memories of her put a grin on my face due to the beautiful moments that we created over the decades." Kim Burrell also shared that she intended to launch a book about Whitney. Based on Kim's account, she and Whitney had mutually decided not to openly broadcast specific parts of their bond while Whitney was still living. Kim afterward mentioned she sensed the moment had arrived to allow the world to get a peek into those reflections and their connection.
I love your music, and I also love your relationship with fellow superstars. I mean, people are still talking about your storied sisterhood with the late, great Whitney Houston. We know what you gave her and advice you gave her during her time here. What message of love and life did she give you, Kim?
Oh, my God, it is countless. I'm glad you mentioned it because I am finally getting that out. I'm writing a book, Whitney and Me. We had a life. Wow. You know, she was my sister, and it's always hard to talk about her. I miss her so very much, especially during the holidays. She was she was filled with laughter and so much joy. I miss her every day. You know, recently we just funeralized her precious mother. Yeah. And the only reason, you guys, that I am able to release this book.
Even Whitney's past bodyguard planned to reveal his side of the story. David Roberts, whose background loosely influenced the 1992 movie The Bodyguard, talked about the time he spent protecting Whitney prior to dropping his book. He even noted there was one night when Whitney laid her head on his shoulder, and for a fleeting second, he questioned what things would be like if their dynamic had blossomed into something deeper. Chatting with the Daily Mail, David also revealed that Whitney once slid a message under the entrance of his hotel suite at the Regency Hotel in Hong Kong back in 1988. He expressed, "It was on a Post-it note, and she shoved it under the door of my suite at the Regency Hotel in Hong Kong in 1988. I possess it still. It's rather faded with age, but remains valuable to me." Whitney appeared to leave an enduring impression on so many individuals. Throughout the decades, numerous accounts have surfaced from different folks who knew her, each providing a distinct perspective on her journey and profession. The majority of those accounts have focused on Whitney's footprint, her tracks, and the influence she cast on the globe. That is the reason Oprah's recent comments sparked such a massive backlash on the internet. A lot of folks criticize her all over social media, stating that raising these accusations so many years down the line felt unnecessary and unjust. A few question why this narrative was being broadcast in 2026 rather than years prior, particularly when Whitney is no longer present to stand up for herself. Others questioned if revisiting such hurtful recollections at a massive public gathering was the right method to pay tribute to someone whose art motivated millions. Whitney's estate, guided by Pat Houston, openly fought back against Oprah's version, labeling the statements inaccurate and unjust. The estate maintained that it was inappropriate to connect Whitney's former struggles with substance abuse to every challenging instance in her journey. They expressed to the crowd that they watched the outcomes of Whitney's work ethic, unbelievable skill, and commitment to the stage. They additionally acknowledged that Whitney did trip prior to the show, but mentioned there was an alternate reason. Based on Whitney's veteran personal protector, Ray Watson, the fall occurred because the platform area was dim and unaccustomed, not because Whitney seemed to be impaired. Ray additionally pointed out Whitney was not humiliated by the event. Rather, he mentioned she brushed it off as a basic accident, and even commented that anybody might have tripped under those identical circumstances.
She was coming toward the front of the stage, and it's a drop off, and it's sort of like a dark spot there. So when she got to the edge, I think somebody told her, "Watch, be careful, watch it," and then she went down. But so you know, we got to her, but she got a matter of fact, she made fun about it, you know.
What did she say when she was making fun about it?
Reed did concede that, from Oprah's viewpoint, she might have genuinely believed Whitney looked to be under the influence. Regardless, he firmly stood by his personal record, maintaining Whitney was absolutely not under the influence on that occasion. He also highlighted that, as Whitney's private guard, he figured he would have been aware if a thing like that had been going on. When questioned if Oprah ought to say sorry to Whitney's relatives and supporters, Reed stated that should merely occur if it originates from a sincere place. He detailed that no one should say sorry solely due to public demands, remarking, "Be honest about it. Don't switch up or make amends if you don't actually mean it." In the meantime, Ray challenged why this account was being broadcast so many years down the road. He expressed it seemed unjust to resurrect the scenario today, given that Whitney is no longer around to confirm or challenge any one side of the story. Ray additionally clarified that he rarely does interviews or talks openly regarding Whitney, since she is unable to reply to or clear up anything being discussed about her.
Just like that right there. Now, they say that she waited so many years before she said it. Well, why didn't you say it then? She's dead. She's gone. My sister gone. Yeah. So she can't say, "No, I know that. No, I wasn't." You might think I was, but I was not. She can't say that. That's my point.
And there was an additional individual who came out with a completely contrasting account. Whitney Houston's past hair professional, Tiffany Dixon, mentioned she was there throughout both days of the sit-down and strongly backed Whitney's side of the story. Tiffany completely rejected Oprah's assertion that Whitney tripped because she was intoxicated. She stated, "She was not high, not a single day, not on either day." Based on Tiffany's words, the drop occurred since the production crew failed to visibly mark the border of the platform. Rather, she mentioned they utilized a dark tarp to separate the stage zone, making it tough to notice, and Tiffany expressed she witnessed the event firsthand. She additionally revealed that Whitney never once asked for a cup of wine across those 2 days. Instead, Tiffany noted Whitney stuck to her regular schedule, sipped tea, and kept matters simple. She portrayed Whitney as energetic and happy, and figured the accident was triggered by bad stage indicators, instead of anything else.
For them to say that it would mess up her legacy, it disturbed me, you know. So I wanted to come on and say that I was with her that day. It was an amazing 2 days. Her telling her truth. You know how that feels to go in front of all these people that are watching you to tell your truth. And they've already been talking about you since we're opening up the box. Since she's saying that she fell because she was high is not the truth. She fell because they did not rope off the stage. They had a black tarp, demarcation of the stage and a tarp. And I was standing right there, and I swear to you, she fell like, whoa. And I ran, you know, everybody ran to get her. You know what I mean? And then she's so goofy. And when I say goofy, like fun-loving, is so not hurt so bad, but hurt because why didn't you guys rope that off? Why didn't you guys say don't go any further than this right here?
Tiffany additionally claimed that Oprah instructed her team not to air or distribute the video of Whitney's tumble. As per Tiffany, Oprah cautioned that anybody accountable for the video getting out might forfeit their position, and she mentioned crew members were forced to sign confidentiality papers. Due to that, Tiffany expressed she found it hard to comprehend why the event would afterward be debated openly, alongside accusations that Whitney had been impaired, a detail Tiffany strongly disputes. That contradiction has sparked a ton of discussion on the web. Numerous supporters feel Whitney Houston's history ought to be handled with care, particularly by individuals who were viewed as being tight with her. A few claim that raising a supposedly difficult memory decades later, while framing it as a matter that had remained hidden, delivered confusing signals and just generated extra drama. Detractors have additionally highlighted other sit-downs from Oprah's extensive run that they feel were particularly brutal on famous public personalities. One instance that is frequently brought up is Toni Braxton's 1998 sit-down, wherein Oprah grilled Toni regarding her financial ruin, featuring an unforgettable back and forth about high-end purchases. Certain watchers believe the chat was excessively harsh and left Toni feeling humiliated, whereas others viewed it as a blunt dialogue regarding money choices. The chat remains to be referenced as one of the highly debated instances from Oprah's broadcasting history.
Toni Braxton! She was so freaking mean to me. I was in shock.
Do you take responsibility for the situation that you're in right now?
100%.
100%.
100%. I couldn't believe it because I loved her so much. I admired her and looked up to her. And she pretty much reprimanded me.
I read that you were upset about stories that your overspending caused this.
She says to me, I hear you have Gucci flatware. I'm Oprah Winfrey and I don't have Gucci flatware.
First of all, I didn't know Gucci made silverware.
You ain't got Gucci flatware because you didn't want to buy it. It's not because you couldn't afford it. What do you mean? And immediately, she made me feel this big. That moment completely changed my career. It made people look down on.
Then we have Michael Jackson, following her massively viewed 1993 sit-down with him at Neverland Ranch. Oprah afterward openly supported the polarizing Leaving Neverland film, an action that ignited heavy arguments amongst followers and the masses. And that is not even touching on her long-gunning public feud with Monique, which has likewise been debated for decades. Due to instances like these, certain folks believe this recent drama aligns with a broader trend, whereas others totally reject the idea. In any case, Oprah's comments regarding Whitney have reignited a dialogue that lots of people assumed had been buried in history regarding why she chose to broadcast that story today. Folks keep debating the timing and the motives driving it. What are your thoughts? Was Oprah merely broadcasting her private recollections? Or do you feel the story ought to have stayed confidential? Leave your opinions in the comments section. And if you like this content, be sure to hit like, subscribe, and pass it on to others. Appreciate you tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one.